Hello and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another TBR challenge catch-up. Basically, if you're new here, Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe and I have set ourselves a TBR challenge of clearing as many books from our TBR as possible. We can do that in two ways. We can either read them or we can unhaul them and they count as a minus point. But every time we buy a book, that counts as a plus point. So we want to be deeply in the minuses by the end of the year, and the person with the lowest score wins. Now, at the start of the year, I came in guns blazing. I had all these tactical ideas of how I was going to do it, and then I really struggled because I went out and I bought loads of books, and Olivia was in the process of moving, and Olivia finds reading when stressful very soothing, so when they're stressed they read more. And then my flatmate lost their job and it became very difficult financially, but also just the pressure of work really got to me. And for quite a few months after our first catch up with Olivia, where she came and hung out with me, I really struggled. There were several months where I actually only read 3 or 4 books the entire month, whereas I'm used to reading between like 17 and 20 books a month. So it was a really shitty time, basically. But at some point there was a turning point, basically, where I was starting to read more and I gutted my shelves. I did something where I was reading 1 or 2 chapters, and if I wasn't vibing with it, I was just removing it. If it was a book that wasn't for a specific project, I was removing it. And I was far more ruthless with my TBR than I have ever been. And in total so far, I have unhauled from my shelf 100 books. Now, some of those were unhauled because I had tried them and didn't like them, and others, I didn't even try them. So I'm going to go through really quickly my stats, and then I have a clip from Olivia to share with you in their response to the challenge so far. So I have, since January, I have bought 79 books, of which I've read 4 of them, and 7 of them I have tried and DNF'd or unhauled. So those ones kind of count as 0. They don't really count as anything. So those ones equate to 0 points because they've come onto my TBR and then they've gone off again. I have unhauled or DNF'd 94 books in total that were on my original TBR. I have then read, I've read 77 books this year, but only 44 of them were on my TBR and not like audiobooks or library picks, etc. Which means that I totaled around minus 74 when I first started this. If you've seen Olivia's video, which if you haven't, go check it out, you will see that Olivia was at minus 80 in total. And I was really proud of being able to turn it around and was so close on her heels, but considering when we last caught up, she was about 50 books ahead of me. I was really proud of myself for getting to a point where actually I'd closed the gap so significantly that I then decided to be a dick and I unhauled an additional 6 books. So at time of recording, both Olivia and I are at minus 80. And essentially I wanted it to be so that it was completely square one. I'm going to put in Olivia's clip now and then kind of tell you what I think my projections are going to be for the rest of the year.
Hi Hannah, it's been a half a year. I'm still winning. I know that you're going to be saying lots of things about how you're catching up and how you're doing well, but I just want to drill it home right now, in this moment. I'm still winning, honey. You've still got a long way to go. You are definitely coming close, and I admire the work and effort that you've put into that, but I'm about to send some books your way, and I hope they put a little dent in your do, and I'm just going to keep on reading at the speed that I'm reading, keep unhauling at the speed that I'm unhauling, and hopefully I'll just haul a little bit less. That's my game plan. I'm exposing my secrets here, but I just want you to not get too excited with your position and where you are, because even though you threatened to unhaul books, sis can do it too, okay? I can bring the fire, I can bring it back around, I can turn this game around. The fight is not over yet. And to quote one of my favorite film franchises, while we're at this halfway mark, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or by a mile. Winning is winning. And girl, you're still a whole mile behind. I think that's everything I have to say. I might sound a little bit mean. I might sound a little bit competitive when I just said over on my channel that I'm not really that competitive. But the Fast and Furious quote just came to my mind and I thought, I gotta latch onto that. I gotta drive it home. Anyway, hopefully I'll be able to see you either in Oxford or London soon. You're doing well, but just, you don't need to do that well. Tone it down a little bit.
So essentially, because I don't envisage having the emotional slump that I had at the start of this year, or the first half of this year, I don't really see that happening again. I feel like I'm on an upswing now. I've got obviously Magical Readathon next month. There'll be Bookopoly, which I always get really involved with. There's Gothtober that I'm really excited for. There's the BookTube Meets event that is going to be in November, and then it's Christmas. So I feel like leading up to it, I'm really excited. I'm really excited that there are all these really great things going on and happening that I can look forward to, and they will increase the amount I read anyway. I don't have to worry that I have any big projects anymore. I feel like the Pride and Prejudice vlog, I loved filming it, but it did mean that I was prioritising books that were taking me longer to read due to size and sometimes disinterest, and therefore I wasn't able to pick up ones that I wanted to. I couldn't necessarily mood read through, and I do see myself being more aggressive about the books that I unhaul, because I don't need to have a 300 book TBR. I just don't. And even the books that I'm buying now, I'm trying to be more sensible about, because I have a habit where I won't just buy the first book in a series, I will buy all three. And then if I don't like them, I've just got them on my shelves. And I do that mainly with charity shop picks, but I do it. And I've also been a lot more careful about the books that I accept from people unhauling. I'm a lot less likely to pick something just because I fancy trying it, as opposed to because I actually think I'm going to read it and really enjoy it. So it has changed my mentality a little bit on what it is I'm planning on reading and how I consider my book buying, and I really want to win. So I am being sensible now. The competitor in me is not really allowing my brain to chill, and I don't really want it to. I had a really shit first 6 months where it didn't feel shit at the time. It's only kind of like in retrospect, I barely posted any videos, I barely read anything. Like, clearly I was going through something, and the only thing that really changed was the fact that I was really struggling for money. And I was struggling because I wanted to support my flatmate. I wanted to make sure that we could stay where we are. And then obviously I got a cat, and I feel like maybe that's when things turned around. We chilled out a little bit, didn't we, when I got a cat? But yeah, so I haven't done a mid-year freak out tag or anything like that. I haven't caught up on any of my revisit tags recently. But clean slate. This is kind of like my mid-year point. Second half of the year is going to be better, because it can't be worse, can it? It couldn't be possibly worse. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Thanks for checking in, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Treat yourself to something from Waypoint, because it supports me and my content, and most importantly, have a nice day.